I'm not like a CrossFit dork. Well, you might consider me, but
Yeah.
I'm not like as diehard as I used to be.
Yeah.
But coming from a different world of strength and conditioning and then getting immersed into CrossFit, I was definitely a little skeptical at first. And you might have heard this from previous podcasts, but I kind of got immersed into CrossFit as a way to prepare for military training because I realized I needed to get my conditioning up because the guys I was running with were kicking my butt and I wasn't getting any faster. And we were doing the same track program. And I remember I had to do a 1.5 mile run and I got like over 10 minutes. I think it was like 10 and a half, which I needed to get under like, I think 9. And I wasn't even close. I was slow. And I remember I had to go back and retest it. And I don't remember what my 1.5 mile time was, but after doing CrossFit for like competitively for like 1.5 years, I was a 240-pound dude and I went and ran a 5:08 mile. Right. And that's not because I'm cool and bad. Like, that was literally because of the programming. And I followed it and I was religious with the nutrition and the sleep and all that. And then I remember another fun one, like an interesting one. It was kind of a light bulb moment is like, we didn't bench press a lot in CrossFit. And, but we did like ring muscle ups and a lot of explosive movements and overhead stuff and clean and jerks and handstand push up, like a bunch of weird shit. And I remember there was one day there was like a 5x5 bench day. And I think in college, I was benching not that much, but because all the other linebackers were a lot stronger than me. I think I maxed out at maybe at like 340. It was like the biggest I got. And then we were doing bench. And I remember we did a 5x5 and I was like, I haven't benched in like 2 years. But like, so I was like, I don't know, I'm going to do sets of 250. I don't know. And to put 250 on, it goes up easy. It's like, all right, put 280 on. Before you know it, you're like in the mid 3s ripping 5s. And I literally have not done the movement in 2 years. And that's when I realized I was like, okay, there's something different going on with this type of training regimen because I just did 4 years at college of all we did. We benched twice a week and all kinds of, you know what I mean? And I capped out and then I leave bench press for 2 years and I do only CrossFit. And then I come back and I'm ripping 350 for 5. It was crazy. It blew me away.
Well, I think that relates to you saying earlier that there's so much shitty programming out there, which there is. That's a good indicator that you're doing a good program is that there's a trickle down effect of like, if you're doing a program and you completely lose your flexibility, you completely lose your conditioning. Now, if you're focused on one singular goal and you lose those consciously knowing.
Yeah, like if you're a bodybuilder, and that's fine.
That's fine.
Yeah, 100%.
But if you're doing a program and aren't consciously aware that you're going to be losing those things and you get to the end of the program and those things have fallen away, there's holes in that programming. Whereas like I know CrossFit, the guys at Mountain Tough, I know they do a great job of this. You should get to that, and maybe you're not the strongest you've ever been or the most conditioned you've ever been, but you'll have that moment of like, holy shit, I feel good in all these different, whether it's like slow state, aerobic exercise, anaerobic, metabolic kind of conditioning or strength. Like I'm holding my own in all of these. That to me, those are the signals that the programming you're doing is well-rounded and kind of touching on all those different systems. Because it's easy, man. You know that if you over leverage into strength for even 12 weeks and do no conditioning, that's I told you that's what got me into Mountain Tough initially was that we went and played pickup basketball and I'd been doing more like conjugate strength stuff and I was like, good Lord, I was breathing
the
like
oxygen
a cow.
tank.
Yeah,
Oh my
God,
God,
it was sad.
Yeah,
yeah.
And that's exactly why I train the way I do because I know all those guys that are doing that. Like if it ever comes down to it, like they have no gas tank.
Yeah.
And again, they might not care. If they don't, it's okay.
Yeah.
They might just be like, hey, I want to deadlift 650 pounds, and if that's your goal, well, cool.
Yeah.
Then keep doing that. Then don't worry about conditioning. But if you want to be a little bit more well-rounded, that's the approach I think we should take.
And I think as like in this field has boomed and people get a little heady here too, but it's important like the aerobic exercise, the metabolic stuff, like there's now the science to show like just how beneficial those are for your health. So as guys, it's like, yes, be strong, be muscular, that's cool, but like there are other benefits as far as like your health and even your lung capacity and VO2, like those little things, if you can maintain those through time, like you're rolling back the clock as far as you're not going to be that 40 or 50-year-old who looks like they're 70 and can't move and can't pick up their grandchildren when you're 60. So to me, those things keep me going too. Like, I mean, take a walk around at any gas station or grocery store. It makes me sad. Like 90% of people, it's like not only would they never, in the example you use, would they be able to hold their own in any type of confrontation if they had to, but they can't even bend over. They can't step up onto something, and that to me, like that's a miss on us as a culture. Like I like hold movement as such a high value in my life, and I think if you treat it that way, you can maintain that into your. I mean, you see people that don't do it the opposite, kind of the way that I think we're wired, and they're 70 or 80 still running, still lifting weights, and that to me, like, that's impressive.